recognized it was a way for the federal government to gain control over those institutions. What these naive corporate executives don't realize is that while they might make a profit on Sunday, they could be gone by Monday. But Obama wasn't the only disciple.
Well, when Hillary was still in high school, she fell under the spell of a Methodist youth minister. And at that time, Hillary had been a Goldwater girl, a conservative, growing up in a perfectly conventional American suburb. But this very charismatic Methodist minister drew Hillary sharply to the left.
After high school, Hillary met with Alinsky again at Wellesley College, where she invited him to speak. Later, Alinsky would offer her a job, but Hillary turned it down.
When she got to college, she decided to focus on Alinsky as her senior thesis work. Hillary was looking to Alinsky for a way to put her existing leftist ideology into practice. But in studying Alinsky, Hillary came to the conclusion that Alinsky organizing could never truly transform America unless it somehow was connected more deeply to the core of the American political system. Alinsky always opposed tight relationships between community organizers and politics. So this is where Hillary decided to take Alinsky in a different direction.
While Alinsky wanted the radicals to pressure the government, Hillary wanted the radicals to become the government. Why try to shame people from the outside when you can intimidate them from the inside?
So I would say on ideology, Hillary is closer to Obama than she is to Bill.
Hillary figured it out. Obama is now carrying it out. The IRS, EPA, DOJ, NSA are all collecting information and storing it on every American. Welcome to the Panopticon, a prison designed by philosopher Jeremy Bentham in the 1800s. His design gave the guards a God's eye view. Here, there's no privacy. What Bentham envisioned for a prison has now become the high-tech Panopticon.
Nobody is listening to your telephone calls. The United States is not spying on ordinary people who don't threaten our national security.
There's no question that the collection of these huge amounts of data gives the government the ability to go after anybody and everybody.
The government will always use as much power as you give it. It will always go up to and sometimes cross over the line.
That's a real problem, particularly if we're looking at everyone's internet searches, we're looking at what magazines you read, what books you read, and really a lot of your life. Imagine how much of your life is online if they can look at your Visa bill without a warrant.
This program, by the way, is fully overseen by the FISA court, a court specially put together to evaluate classified programs to make sure that the executive branch or government generally is not abusing them and that it's being carried out consistent with the Constitution.
The FISA court should not be allowed to use the term court. It is not a court. A court, by definition, means an institution that hears both sides of a case and controversy.
Due process is an open court, adversarial process on both sides of it, but it's not in a secret court, FISA, with nobody to advocate for the individual that's being spied upon.
Judges should not be allowed to wear robes. They shouldn't be allowed to use the word judge. They shouldn't be allowed to use the word court. and it's misleading the public.
You know, many people will say, well, I haven't done anything wrong, and so I don't really care if they read my mail. The problem with that is it's a much different standard, than innocent until proven guilty. It's that everything is open. They come into your house and say, oh, you've been sending emails to someone in Lebanon. We suspect you of terrorism. But they get in your house and they find no terrorism. You're not connected, but they find you have paint that you brought home from the office that you bought with a business expense, and you were painting your office. Now you're painting the inside of your house. You've now committed a tax violation. Or maybe they find you have an unregistered gun.
Everything in America now is criminal. You can't practice commercial law, real estate law, be in the hedge fund business, do a great many things without running afoul of potential criminal statute.
Harvey, you've written a book that has the remarkable title, 3 Felonies a Day. Now, how is it possible for an ordinary guy to commit 3 felonies a day?
That on a normal day, the average reasonably engaged American does at least 3 things that arguably can be deemed federal felonies by some ambitious Department of Justice prosecutor. The problem with most federal felonies is that an average normal person, even I have to say a lot of my fellow lawyers, wouldn't have a clue that what they're engaging in is arguably prosecutable.
Well, and consider it on top of this IRS scandal where it appears as if the government is using the IRS for partisan reasons. Maybe I'm not so confident that I would want all my phone records given to the government if it appears maybe I could be targeted by the government. I talk to people routinely now who I don't think are paranoid or saying, I'm a little worried about having my name publicly associated with conservatives or Republicans because I fear retaliation. I fear that I will be targeted by the SEC or the IRS or different arms of government. And I think it's a legitimate fear. I think it's probably almost nothing more fundamentally un-American than using government to target your political opponents.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
During the Nixon administration, I was audited 4 times. I was audited because I was a very vocal critic of the Nixon administration.
We all pay taxes. We all file tax returns. And talk about a trap for the unwary. They can get absolutely anybody. They can bankrupt you just from trying to defend against it. And then the rest of the game is, are you going to avoid a long prison sentence and plead guilty for a short sentence?
There are a lot of people in prison today based on guilty pleas who could have won their case had they litigated it, but the risks of litigation are so great that they can't afford to do it. It was Lavrenti Beria who told Stalin, show me the man and I'll find you the crime.
What the government did to our little group in Wetumpka, Alabama, is un-American. It isn't a matter of firing or arresting individuals. The individuals who sought to intimidate us were acting as they thought they should in a government culture that has little respect for its citizens. Many of the agents and agencies of the federal government do not understand that they are servants of the people. They think they are our masters, and they are mistaken. I'm not interested in scoring political points. I want to protect and preserve the America that I grew up in. The America that people cross oceans and risk their lives to become a part of. And I'm terrified it is slipping away. Thank you.
Aaron Swartz was an internet whiz kid. At 14, he developed a new way to publish information on the web. In his late teens, he co-founded a company that merged with Reddit to become one of the web's most frequently used social news sites. He became a vocal critic of several of the Obama administration's policies.
The freedoms guaranteed in our Constitution, the freedoms our country had been built on, would be suddenly deleted.
Aaron Swartz was prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts for allegedly breaking into the computer networks at MIT and downloading without authorization thousands of academic articles. He was charged with crimes that would have carried a penalty of up to 35 years in prison and a $1 million fine.
The articles were funded by taxpayer money, and Aaron thought they should be available to the public. The government argued they were copyrighted material.
It strikes me as disproportionate, being used inappropriately to try to bully someone into pleading guilty to something that strikes me as rather minor.
The company that owns the copyrighted articles asked federal prosecutors to